Welcome to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast. So, how would you like to know something that you can do that would improve your mental health, improve your physical health, make it so you can achieve your goals better, get better sleep? There's all sorts of things that it can do. And that is the simple act of being grateful. So, with this week being Thanksgiving, we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about being grateful. So, you've got me, Jim. I'm the one that's always on the podcast. And for the special treat, Lynn's with us this week because she's my wife, Dr. James's oldest daughter. But the neat thing about Lynn is she, and I didn't really actually remember that she did this, her grateful exercise. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the episode. But how it helped her get through some changes in our lives. So let's define gratitude. So Lynn, what for you is gratitude?
Gratitude is being grateful for something, even if it's something very small and minute in the whole thing.
Well, I love, especially with gratitude, is recognizing it as well as
Yes.
looking for things to be grateful for and and recognizing it and being appreciative of it. So it's an amazing thing to have, to be grateful and to have gratitude.
I also love that gratitude doesn't cost you anything as far as money and things. The world likes to sell you that you can only find happiness if you have the latest makeup, the best clothes, the latest multivitamin, the whatever, and all of those things cost money. But gratitude, you can have it, you can improve your life, your sleep, your all of those things you mentioned, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah. It's simple, it's easy, but it really has a profound effect on all sorts of aspects of our bodies. In fact, there's been studies done on the effect of gratitude. Some place did a study and they found that the people that had gratitude, their hearts were actually healthier than the people. So they checked the hearts at the beginning of the study, and then a certain part of the group didn't express gratitude, or didn't. I think they had them keeping gratitude journals. And so the one group didn't and the one group did. And the ones that kept a gratitude journal, their hearts were actually healthier. Their brain was functioning properly. They got better sleep. So gratitude is an amazing thing.
Yeah, there's all sorts of studies about it out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely a wonderful thing to do and to be involved in.
Yeah. And when you express gratitude, it actually releases dopamine and serotonin, like those chemicals that they keep the brain healthy, but also help the brain function. And they reduce those chemicals being released into the brain, reduce stress, and they help you to cope with stress. So, even if you're like feeling stressed or overwhelmed, sometimes just expressing gratitude can bring you back into a place where you're feeling less stressed and you can cope with different things.
Mm-hmm. So for me with gratitude, like when I'm in the middle of stress and stuff, sometimes it's really hard to see outside of the stress, the overwhelm, everything into gratitude. But for me in my life, I learned a long time ago, I can find gratitude. My gratitude doesn't have to have anything to do with my stress. Gratitude in anything will help to fix the stress. So I can have all sorts of crazy stuff going on and a really heavy load I'm bearing and everything. And I can look out the window and be grateful for sunshine. And that gratitude for sunshine can help carry me through everything else. So I don't have to find gratitude in my trial at that moment. I mean, that's very, very helpful if you can find gratitude in it. But finding gratitude in anything around you helps to somehow heal things.
Which is an amazing thing. For some reason, it reminded me of, I can't remember where I heard it, but they said that whenever you're angry or depressed or really stressed, it actually shuts off your immune system.
Oh yeah, I remember I can't remember what that was from, probably a course that we took.
Yeah.
But it said it could actually shut down and repress, and you could have flu-like symptoms for up to 24 hours afterwards.
Yeah, like 5 minutes of anger will shut down your immune system for 24 hours.
Yeah, so people that truly get angry regularly can just end up with their immune system shot.
Yeah. And just doing that little bit of gratitude will take you out of that and get your immune system going again. So it's a really
the gratitude, and I remember from that also a little bit of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
When you get stirred up and angry, not necessarily exercise, just getting out and walking.
Yeah.
My choice is a rebounder because I can do that anywhere in my house, no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
But that also helps to move it through when things hit you in the face, the gratitudes, and get stuff moving so your circulation can get it out of your system as quick as possible.
Yeah. Well, and another great thing about gratitude is it changes our, like, how we are socially with other people. You know, if you, the expression Debbie Downer, somebody who isn't grateful for things around them, a lot of people tend to not want to be around them. Whereas if you, whether you're practicing gratitude as in a journal or not even openly practicing it, it changes the way you are socially, and people are more likely to want to be around you. So it changes the way that people interact with you.
Well, sometimes my gratitudes help me want to be around myself more too.
Yeah, that's true.
Helps a lot.
Helps. So the big reason I wanted to have Lynn on to talk with this in this episode is to talk about her experience of going to Oregon while we were there for the 4 years, and something that she did like every day, didn't she?
I did it every day.
Every day.
And I don't even remember what started me doing it. So we moved to Oregon in 2019. So that was not a major time in the world, but a major time was coming. And for some reason, I had started doing a gratitude. I just kept it in the notes in my phone. And every morning I would write down 10 things I was grateful for. Because I like numbers. I like exacts. I like lists. So for me, a list of 10 things. And part of my 10 things was the suggested thing people say to start with is 3 things. For me, 3 wasn't enough. My family is too big and my experience is too wide. 3 was a cop out. Like I could come up with 3 things of gratitude on the fly and it not dig deep and help me. So I needed 10 things. So I wrote down 10 things, and I didn't realize until Jim was asking me about gratitude. So I looked back at the dates and the timing of when I did that. Because right now I'm not currently actively making that list, but I did it for 4 years, which I was quite surprised at that I was able to keep that up and that it was for 4 years. And as I look back on it, I really think that was a big part of helping me through all of those things. Because moving after we had planned on living in one place for the rest of our lives, and a totally different culture, different climate, kids going through the move and my mom had just died the year before. We had so much going on in our lives at that time. And then kids started moving back in with us. And then COVID happened, which was, for anyone listening, they know what that was for them. But for me, it was a huge thing. And so my gratitudes of writing down 10 each day really helped me through a dark time. And it wasn't just a dark time and, we're having experiences of life is difficult, but we had moved from sunny New Mexico, where we probably get 300 days of sunshine a year, to Oregon that gets
70 days of sunshine.
70 days of sunshine a year. So I went from I didn't realize that my personal solar panels needed so much sunshine until we moved to a cloudy climate. And I didn't know exactly what was going on. It was bad enough just to add a story. So in New Mexico, if we had a rainy day, a cloudy day, a snowy day, anything like that, our family would binge on movies. That's when we caught up on a series we'd been dying to watch or something. And we would do that. Well, in Oregon, when we got there and we tried to use that method for ourselves, we found that it was not going to last us very well, because after a month of watching TV and the clouds never went away, we had to find some other way to deal with clouds. And so that's where I think my gratitude, I called it a journal. My gratitude journal really came into play for that. So each day I would write down things I was grateful for. And it helped me to, if I was struggling with someone or something, I would go out of my way to, in my journal, find something I was grateful about for that person. So whether that was a kid in my house or someone that lived far away or someone I was mad at on TV, I mean, whatever it was, I would make sure that I tried, even if I was mad at myself. I'm like if I was mad because I'd been sick for 5 days and I couldn't figure out what it was or whatever, I could write down something I was grateful for myself, for the health I still had, for.
And when we first moved there, all of us got really sick. Like, I don't know if there was,
We got super sick. I swear we had COVID 6 months before they announced it.
Yeah. Whatever it was, the kids were really sick and it took us a little bit, and some people in Oregon talked about it being such a dramatic shift that when people from, especially us, from a sunny climate move there, your entire body has to get used to that whole new climate and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because as I looked back in my gratitude journal from that time, I was amazed at how many of my gratitudes were for Dr. James's herbal formulas. I was so grateful that he had developed, and I don't know if everybody on the podcast knows, but he got started because of living in the Oregon climate. He served a mission for his church in Oregon, got sicker than a dog, and doctors could not solve him. Yeah, in the same place that we were at. How many years later? A lot. 40 years later. Yeah. And so in my gratitude journal, I was surprised at how many times all I could fall back on, because nobody was breathing, people were puking. I mean, everything was, I am so grateful we have Dr. James's cough syrup. I am so grateful we have ammonia, or my kids would be in the hospital. I am so grateful that we have all of that knowledge. I was surprised at how much that played into it. But my mother was a grateful person. I do not remember her ever being mad, like physically out. You could see it, mad, angry, anything. She could find the sunny side of anything. So maybe that's part of why I am how I am. But for some reason at that time, I decided to write it down, which is kind of fun because it's documented, to be able to be grateful for things that, I mean, seriously, when you have dishes coming out of your ears in the kitchen because everyone is too sick to help with anything and you're the one well enough person to do dishes, that doesn't mean you're well. You're just well enough to do some. Be grateful for the dishwasher. Yeah. Be grateful for that we have food to eat in the first place, or whatever. It just, that gratitude makes a huge difference.
And it makes it, like, my sister was just recently, we were talking, and she was talking about the trauma of COVID. And I really think that our family does not have as much, those first few months, like March, April, May, June, when everything was closed and they were like, it's only going to be for 2 weeks. And then it
2 weeks became 2 months, and 2 months became 6 months.
Yeah. And I think that because Lynn kept that gratitude journal, we didn't have that COVID trauma that my sister was talking about, because she kept us on that level of
could look at it and be grateful. Oh, look, more family time.
Yeah.
Oh, look, more. Let's be grateful for.
So I want to talk a little bit about how to work on your gratitude. So Lynn talked about a gratitude journal that she kept in her notes app on her phone. So basically, whenever she had, it was part of your morning routine, wasn't it?
It was my morning routine, which my morning routine helps me to be grateful, because my life, I have too many kids and too much going on. If I do not do it in my mornings, it does not get done.
Yeah.
If it's not done before the kids are out of bed.
So a morning routine or an evening routine, a routine is something amazing and wonderful. And I think we've talked about it before, and if not, I'm sure we'll talk about it some more. But as part of her morning routine, she had her phone and she would write down her 10 gratitudes.
And I had tried doing it in a book, but my book wasn't always with me, because sometimes I would be downstairs when the kids were asleep, Sometimes I'd be upstairs, whatever. It was so nice that my phone was with me. Even if I forgot to do my gratitudes in the morning because some kid gets me up puking in the night and whatever, I was able to, wherever I was sitting and whoever I was holding, I could get my phone out and put a few things in, even if it took me all day to get my gratitudes listed for the day. But most of the time I got it done in the morning.
Like they say, the best, whatever it is, the best camera is the one you have with you.
Mm-hmm.
The best journal is whatever you can have with you. Mm. So that's, that's one way to do it. And so is gratitude journal, writing down, like Lynn said, a minimum of 3, depending on how you like your numbers, 3, 5, 10, but a minimum of 3 gratitudes, and doing it daily is also very important.
Yeah. I liked the only reason I went up to 10, and sometimes, some days I went way more than 10, but because I wanted to be deep, I wanted to go deeper for me, not just be whatever's on the surface that's easy to find.
Yeah, to put you in that mindset of gratitude.
But in the thinking about because I know you're going into a list of things, not everybody likes to write. For some people, they are so grateful that there's AI now and they can talk into their phone and they never have to write a word. Those people, I am so grateful that we have the technology nowadays and the knowledge that it's okay, that is okay, and that is their normal, and it is my normal to like to write. So for those of you that don't like to write, there's other options.
Yeah. So and it's something to, because Lynn read a book recently that talked about 4 different types of people, and
just that they're different styles of learning, and they're different styles of communication,
and the way they are. So and Lynn embraces that, in that, like, one child is completely different from another child simply because that's their style of learning, or their style of how they do things. So whether it's using your ears or touch or seeing or visual or whatever. Yeah. So basically the point is, find something that works for you. You don't have to be like, if you hate writing and can't handle writing, don't think that you have to do writing to do these, these mindfulness exercises or these gratitude exercises. So we talked about a gratitude journal. Another one is just mindfulness, where you just sit and think about 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for, and just thinking about it and pondering on it and thinking over what you're grateful for is another great way to just put you into that mindset of gratitude.
Mm-hmm. And as you do that more often, you'll find yourself, you'll be driving around town and you'll see something. Sunshine is my biggest. I'm grateful for that every day right now. My biggest thing, but to just be grateful for it, even in the moment, like when I'm on the couch with a sick kid and I can't get up and do anything, to be able to think in the moment, I am so grateful that I have a house that stays warm, or anything of gratitude while you're just sitting there. It doesn't have to be necessarily in a special time of day, especially if you're just thinking about it, because you get to every moment, and it's contagious. What you focus on grows. So doing 3 gratitudes a day, you'll find that you're actually throughout the day finding way more gratitudes just in your daily surroundings.
Yep.
And thinking about it is absolutely amazing. Now, some people need a physical outlet for things. So to be grateful, I've known some people that need to physically move something to have their life happening or to be able to be happy or whatever. So for them, thinking gratitudes may look like they're skipping rocks on a creek while they're saying, I'm grateful for sunshine. I'm grateful for fish. I am grateful for my pain in the butt brother. I am grateful for whatever, but they may need to be physically moving something doing something while they're doing it. Do jumping jacks while you are physically thinking about that, because there's some people that just need that physical outlet, that they're not passive with writing or passive with just thinking. They need to be actively involved somehow in that.
And for some people, it's like Lynn was saying, vocalizing it, saying it out loud so that you're hearing it. Like if you're one of those people that learns from hearing, then saying it out loud, then you're hearing your voice and it gets
Mhm.
carried into your ears.
Well, that's a nice thing about a phone too, is you can, so usually if you're just sitting in the car on your way to work and you're verbalizing your gratitudes, that's great. But if you choose to get your phone out and verbalize it on your phone, it creates a lasting thing you could go back on after you get through whatever your tough times are. You could go back on it and listen to it again, or our phones right now translate that right into writing. So even if you don't like writing, you could talk it into your phone and still end up with a list that you can look at someday if you want to. Some people have enough not nice people in their life that they don't want documentation of anything like that.
Mhm.
So everybody has to find the way in their life and what's going on in their life to be able to do that. But verbally is helpful. But me, that's actually what I would. It's harder for me, much harder for me to verbalize it than to write it down.
Basically, the key to that is find what works for you and do it.
Mm-hmm. Look for the positive, because what you focus on grows. So if you're focusing on the negative side of whatever it is you're going through, that grows. It becomes something. So it's like carrying a backpack. Most people have heard the stories of how you can be carrying a heavy load in your backpack with rocks and boulders and stress or other people's crap or whatever it is. So for
those
me,
emotional rocks,
those emotional rocks that are in your backpack. And I mean, some people get little pinky size emotional rocks in their backpack, and then other people have fist size. And then some people just have people loading boulders into their backpacks and stuff. And I really feel that that showing gratitude in some way, shape, or form takes one boulder out at a time, takes one little rock out at a time, takes one something away. There's been times in my life where I've had people I've had to deal with that I really struggle with, that I do not like them, or I do not like what they're doing, or how they're being. And I don't get mad easy. I really internalize things. But those are the times when I need to try extra hard, especially if it's someone that I love or that I should love, that it's very important for me at that time with that backpack on. I'm the one choosing to carry the heavy load. If I take their crap from them and put it in my backpack, I'm choosing to carry that load. But if I can find even one little tiny thing that I'm grateful for that person, it makes a huge difference. And it helps the relationship, even if the relationship's never going to be wonderful. It helps my side of the relationship to be better when I can be grateful. That doesn't mean that I'm accepting of stupidity or that I'm anything, but I can be grateful for that little thing. So I could just say, I am grateful that they combed their hair today. It can be that simple. I am grateful that they're wearing clothes. I am grateful that I I don't know. There's so many things and so many different circumstances with people in life and things beyond our control. And sometimes my gratitude towards them is I am grateful for the lesson that I'm learning from being involved with them. Someday I'll be able to look back on this and see what I learned from it. But at this moment, I can.
But it makes me think of more is more too. The more you do it, the more you're able to do it. So like when you first start off, it may be difficult to be like, well, I can't even think of where you're struggling to come up with 3 gratitudes, but have.
That's because your backpack is so loaded with negative that we can't.
Yep.
So the emptier your backpack gets, the more easy it is to see and to be grateful for things around you. And it's contagious with your family and with all sorts of things when they start seeing the changes that gratitude can bring.
Yep. And so we kind of wanted to talk a little bit also while we're talking about, stepping through the difficulty. If you're having difficulties getting started, or you've been doing it for a while and something happens and you're having a difficult time getting through it, there's also some physical things you can do. Like, Lynn's mentioned sunshine several times. Just stepping outside and having sunshine on your face, that in itself does something. Going for a walk, just, getting up and moving, exercise, jumping jacks, rebounder, just doing something. Vitamin D also, though, is really, really helpful. It's, that's vitamin D is that vitamin that basically they call it the happiness vitamin because it helps our body with those chemicals in the brain, deal with stress or whatever. So sometimes that helps. Nerquilizer and chillin are also wonderful herbs formulas that can help. Basically, it helps you step over the threshold to help you get into that gratitude mindset, that mind, being mindful about being grateful.
That also makes me think another herb, just a little outside the. So I have teenage daughters, and I'm one of 11 children, and 8 of those children are girls and stuff. So girls that do not have their feminine needs met can have a really hard time being grateful. So if their body isn't getting the nutrients they need, it is really hard to be able to smile or to be able to find gratitude in anything. So I would say tonic F would be on that list also. For girls, it helps so much. My girls are in this stage right now where they haven't quite gone like started their periods or gone through puberty yet, but they're in the process of it. And tonic F is on their daily routine so that they can stand themselves and so that I can stand them. And it definitely helps them to see more joy in life and gratitude because it helps to balance the hormones. If your hormones are off, like if you truly cannot find gratitude in anything, you may need to ask your doctor some questions or see a physician or learn about some things because you may have some deficiencies or you may have some emotional things that need dealt with or whatever, because we should be able to find gratitude in life. And if you truly, truly cannot find it and you need to find someone, even if it is just a friend to talk to. Hey, I'm having a hard time even being grateful for one thing. Any suggestions? Seek outside yourself if you're in that place where you truly cannot find that piece of light. Because if you're in a dark room and the lights are off and there are no windows, you can't find the light switch. It takes a really long time. So sometimes you have to grab onto a friend.
Where the light switch is.
You have to grab onto a friend, grab onto something so that you can start seeing those little rays of sunshine.
So I hope that our discussion here about gratitude has been helpful and that it gives you the desire to start a gratitude journal or a gratitude mindfulness, make it part of your daily routine.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Nope,
it is Thanksgiving week. It is Thanksgiving week, a family tradition, an Applegate family tradition, Jim and I thing that my kids, we haven't put it up this year and they were telling me about it yesterday, is we do a thankful turkey, which is basically gratitude turkey. We just get out construction paper and cut out a little turkey body, and then we cut out funky shaped feathers, and kids write all the things they're thankful for, grateful for on those feathers, and we stick it on. I usually stick it to a glass door or window in the house with tape. And so we have the gratitude all over the place. And that's a way to get the family involved in seeking the gratitudes. Because for this week in Thanksgiving and being thankful for so many things in our world, the fact that we can go grocery shopping and that I don't have to kill my own turkey, that's something to be grateful for.
So we hope that you'll take some of these suggestions and put them into your life. Start doing something to just express a little more gratitude and see the difference that it's going to make in your life. We really appreciate you listening with us. Remember, if you like this, subscribe. You can subscribe anywhere you're listening to this podcast and let your friends know. We will talk to you next time.